Okay, and welcome to test 13 in our series MCQ Revision Blast. This time we're taking the topic of monopoly and oligopoly, and we're going to ask 10 multiple choice questions, chance for you to have a go and do some revision at the same time. So every best wish, good luck with these questions. Question 1, firms X, Y and Z are all profit maximising firms. X operates in perfect competition, Y operates in monopolistic competition, Z is a monopolist. Which statement about these firms is correct? Please press the pause button and press play when you want to go through the answer. So what do you reckon the answer is to question 1? The correct answer is D. Only Z will be able to make supernormal profits in the long run. Firms can be productively efficient in perfect competition, yes, but also monopoly. There could be, for example, big scale economies, so A isn't right. Firm X will be allocatively efficient in perfect competition because price equals marginal cost, whereas Y, no, the price would be greater than marginal cost in that market, so that's not allocatively efficient. Y and Z, well, if you're operating in any imperfect competition, you're not price takers, you're price makers. The key is D. In perfect competition and monopolistic competition, we both assume no entry barriers. Therefore, profits which are made in the short run, which are supernormal, are competed away by the entry of new firms, leaving businesses to earn normal profit only. In contrast, in a monopoly, barriers to entry allow a business with monopoly power to continue to earn supernormal profits in the long run. Question number 2. The diagram shows the cost and revenue curves of a profit maximising monopolist that has zero fixed costs and can implement perfect price discrimination. So which area measures the monopolist's profit? Have a go. I'll be back in a few seconds with the right answer. So this is the business with no fixed costs, therefore we only consider variable cost, and it's able to implement perfect price discrimination, which means it can basically charge a different price for every single unit along the demand curve. The correct answer to question 2 is B, R plus S. Here's the reasoning. Perfect price discrimination means that a firm can extract the entire area of consumer surplus underneath the demand curve. So they'll be able to get the revenue R, S and T. The marginal cost curve shows us the variable cost curve. It's the change in cost from adding one extra unit. And the area beneath the marginal cost curve shows total cost. That equals area T. So therefore profit is revenue minus cost. So it's R plus S plus T minus T equals areas R plus S. Here's question 3. This is an oligopoly question. An industry consists of two firms, X and Y. The profit payoff matrix shows how the profits of X and Y vary depending on the prices charged by the two firms. Both firms, we're told, make a zero profit. What could explain this outcome? Press the pause button and come back to me in a few seconds for the answer. So this is a classic oligopoly prisoner's dilemma question where two firms can either charge a high price, £10, or low price, PY, £5. We're told that both firms make a zero profit. What can explain this outcome? Well, it must be the case that the firms in an oligopoly, or in this case a duopoly, have departed from some sort of collusive behaviour. They're now starting to compete with each other, and therefore the correct answer is B. It's a competitive oligopoly. The collusive equilibrium is top left in the matrix when both firms charge a high price of £10, giving total profits of 24 million. That's joint profit maximisation. Zero profit is where both firms charge £5 at a low price. And in this game, it's part of game theory of course, it's also the dominant strategy for each firm to charge a low price. Let's move on to question 4. Many public utilities can be described as natural monopolies. Which statement best describes the situation leading to a natural monopoly? Have a go. So many of you will be familiar with monopoly. Are you familiar with the concept of a natural monopoly? It's a particular type of industry, particular type of market. What's the right answer to question 4? The correct answer is A. There are high fixed costs and falling average costs, all outputs demanded. For a natural monopoly, the long run average cost curve falls continuously over a very large range of output. In other words, the minimum efficient scale will be a very high percentage of market demand. And the result is there may be only room for one firm in the market to fully exploit the internal economies of scale that are available. Hence the idea of a natural monopoly. Let's move on to question 5. An industry consists of one dominant firm which acts as a price leader and a large number of small firms. Which statement about the profit maximising output of the small firms do you think is correct? Have a go at question 5. Okay, the key to this is to think about what happens to these smaller firms in the market if one firm is the dominant firm, effectively setting the prices, the price leader. When will the other firms, the smaller businesses, maximise profit? The answer to question 5 is C, where marginal cost is equal to price. Here's the explanation. In this situation described in the question, the many smaller firms effectively act as price takers in the market. And what this means is that they have to accept the price set by the price leading firm, the dominant firm. The consequence of that is that they have a perfectly elastic demand curve. They're basically selling as much as they can at the price set by the dominant firm, and therefore their average and their marginal revenue curves will be the same. A firm profit maximises where marginal revenue equals marginal cost, and therefore for smaller firms, price-taking firms, they will profit maximise where price equals marginal cost. AR equals MC because AR equals MR. Well, halfway through. Hope you're doing well. These are not easy questions. Let's move on to question 6. A firm is already the monopoly producer of product X. Which strategy of those listed below, A, B, C and D, might the firm pursue in order to prevent new firms from entering the market for product X? Have a go at question 6. Okay, what do you think for question 6? There's a strategy which a firm can use to prevent a new firm from coming in to try to take away their monopoly power. The right answer to question 6 is B, limit pricing. Limit pricing. A lot of students in this question chose D, predatory pricing. There is a difference between the two concepts. Let's quickly go through this. So limit pricing is pricing by the incumbent firm. That's the existing firm. Could be more of them, but let's take one of them. And it's a low price to deter the entry or the expansion of fringe firms, of new firms coming in. And the limit price is normally below the short-run profit maximising price, but above the competitive level. In contrast, predatory pricing is when you set a very low, artificial low price for a product in order to drive away existing competition, force out of the market a rival firm, for example. And that is deemed to be illegal by both the UK and the European Union competition authorities. Predatory pricing normally involves setting price well below your average cost of production. In other words, you make a loss to try and force out existing competition. Here's question 7. What makes collusion between firms in an oligopolistic industry more difficult? What makes collusion more difficult? Have a go at question 7. Okay, the right answer to question 7 is D, significant product differentiation between firms. Let me explain this to you in terms of thinking about what makes collusion easier. So collusion in an oligopoly tends to be easier when products are standardized. Classic example would be something like cement or oil. Output has to be easily measurable. So if you impose an output quota, you need to know how much output each of the cartel firms is producing. It's easier to run a cartel when the market demand is fairly stable and predictable. In other words, not subject to big external shocks. That's why C is wrong. It's also easier to run a cartel when businesses in the cartel have broadly similar objectives. And also when the payoffs to cheating are low. Okay, the penalty to cheating is high or the payoff to cheating is low. And crucially, there are entry barriers to new firms. So in other words, the existing cartel can protect their market position. Significant product differentiation makes it harder to set a single price because the nature of the product could be very different, and therefore you would charge a different price for product differentiation. Question number 8. Diagram shows a firm in monopoly currently producing level of output OQ. Which outcome can be observed in the diagram? A, B, C or D? Have a go at this question. Okay, the right answer to question 8 is A, loss minimization. Loss minimization. Okay. Monopoly will profit maximize where marginal cost equals marginal revenue. That's exactly where output OQ is. But they're guaranteed to make a loss because the demand curve lies below the average cost curve. However, at the profit maximizing point, even though they're making a loss, that is indeed the minimum loss they can make in this situation. So output Q is the output that minimizes losses. Profit maximization output is the same as the loss minimization output. Here's question 9. The diagram shows cost and revenue of monopoly that decides to produce at output level OX. What can definitely be confirmed as the firm's main aim? Question 9. What can definitely be confirmed as the firm's main aim? Have a go. So what do we think for question 9? That point X is an intersection between total cost and total revenue. It's also the maximum of the revenue curve. The answer to question 9 is C, sales revenue maximization. You can definitely say that. So where the marginal revenue curve is 0, so where price elasticity of demand equals 1, the firm is maximizing revenue at that point. They wouldn't necessarily be maximizing market share. They could indeed produce more output, maybe even make a loss in the short term to increase their market share. Question number 10. A firm successfully engages in a policy of predatory pricing. What will happen to prices charged by the firm in the short run and in the long run? Have a go at question number 10. Okay, what do we think? Well, predatory pricing, as we've defined a few minutes ago in the previous question, is where you deliberately set a low price to force out an existing competitor and give you some more market power. So what do we think the answer is for question 10? The right answer is C, that prices in the short run will fall, but prices in the long run will rise. Predatory pricing allows firms to charge a lower price in the short term, even make a loss. If they can successfully force competition out of the market, that allows them to increase their prices in the long run because there's less competition in the industry. Okay, I hope you did well in those 10 questions. Thanks for joining in test 13 on monopoly and oligopoly.